Good evening, viewers. Welcome to Bharat and Geopolitics. In a world brimming with possibilities, our podcast aims to uncover the profound insight that lie within India's geopolitical landscape. Join us as we embark on a journey to explore how India's rich history, diverse culture, and strategic positioning can serve as a wellspring of inspiration for shaping a brighter tomorrow. Today we have the honor of welcoming Dr. Adityanjee. Dr. Adityanjee is the President of Council for Strategic Affairs. He is a distinguished expert in Indian geopolitics to guide us through this enlightening conversation. With decades of experience and a keen understanding of the intricate dynamics at play, Dr. Adityanjee is poised to unravel the lesson we can glean from the India geopolitical journey. Together, let's dive into the narratives, nuances, and lessons that can empower us to forge a future grounded in wisdom, innovation, and collective prosperity. Get ready to be inspired, challenged, and motivated to harness the transformative potential that India's geopolitical politics holds for us all. Tune in, engage, let's embark on this transformative expedition together. So, welcome Dr. Adityanjee, welcome to our platform.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Sena, again for resuming this podcast and inviting me on your platform. Always pleased to be here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So, I am moving to my this fourth question. What role can India's economic growth and innovation ecosystem play in driving global development and addressing pressing challenges such as poverty, climate change, and healthcare access? So, your comments, sir.
I think we need to take things in perspective. We have a lot of work to be done domestically first.
Right, right.
If you see historically, India's contribution to the world GDP was around 33% in ancient India till medieval India. During Mughal times, India's contribution to global GDP went down from 33% to 25%. I don't have to explain why. And after the British occupation of India, it went down further. So at this point in time, we have domestic challenges. We have to foster our own growth. We are now growing in the post-COVID period at 7.5% rate. And that is a good rate of growth compared to some of the Western countries. Our growth rate is better than that of China even now.
Yeah,
But for India to achieve its full potential, I think we need to grow in double digits.
yes,
For next 20 years, we should not be putting this, artificial caps that we want to have 5 trillion economy or 10 trillion economy. We need to focus on the rate of growth in GDP to double digits because that will have trickle down effect. The IMF, the World Bank have appreciated India's lifting people out of poverty.
yeah,
That's a strong example, but we cannot be just sitting and feeling glorious in those laurels.
yeah,
Actually, we are a laggard internationally because rest of the Southeast Asian countries industrialized, liberated the economies, and had very fast growth. They were able to lift themselves out of poverty, and we kept on harping on soft power, socialist model of economy. So here, I think we need to focus internally. Yes, we need to use our demographic dividend, our intellectual and technical prowess. At this point in time, we are generating a lot of startups and the number of unicorns. So this is a process. Instead of saying that we can inspire rest of the world, I think I would say that we need to continue to work single-mindedly in this direction so that we promote inclusive growth, sustainable development, and shared prosperity within India, because we have a lot of regional differences at this point in time. So
Yes.
instead of preaching to rest of the world, we need to correct the imbalances that are already existing because of silly or unscientific policies that our governments had followed in the past. The reforms that have been done in last 10 years are really eye-opening. But again, we cannot pat ourselves on back because we have a lot of work to do. So rather than telling rest of the world how we can help you, I think we need to help ourselves and come to a stage that everyone that looks at us looks with envy and looks with a sense of appreciation, then they will be convinced to follow our model.
Right. Thank you, sir. So I am moving to the next question.
Hmm.
How can India's commitment to multilateralism and South-South cooperation inspire collaborative efforts to tackle transactional issues such as terrorism, pandemics, and environmental degradation? So how should we approach
And
this?
since 1947 onward, various governments have focused on South-South cooperation. It's not that, we have not talked about it. Bandung Conference and then the subsequent non-aligned movement was an exercise in South-South cooperation. Uh, you mentioned, and we are still votaries of South-South cooperation. We had successful G20, which we made G21 by inviting African Union, which was a very strong statement. And uh, we started a different forum uh, that is a dialogue of the South, which has been done almost now for 2 years. So we are votaries of South-South cooperation. But whether our emphasis on South-South cooperation will lead to positive results, you mentioned terrorism, pandemic, and one more issue,
Envi-
uh,
Environmental degradation.
environmental degradation. So I'll take these issues separately. As far as terrorism is concerned, we hardly have any leverage because terrorists do not listen to reason, voice of reason. And countries that are supporting terrorism, then countries that are harboring terrorists, they are not persuaded by our lofty themes of global vision and Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam or shared humanity. They don't believe in this. So it would be naive on part of our policy planners to say that South-South cooperation will eliminate terrorism or will provide a model for elimination of terrorism. We have not been able to deal with the fountainhead of terrorism sitting next door to us. There is terrorism in West Asia. There is terrorist attack in Russia.
Yeah.
So there are unscrupulous elements, individuals, non-state actors, organizations, and countries that promote terrorism as a state policy. And short of punishing them, we will not be able to persuade just by talk about South-South cooperation. So let's be very clear. that how much leverage South-South cooperation can have as far as tackling terrorism is concerned.
Yeah.
While tackling pandemic, yes, South-South cooperation will definitely help, but pandemics happen because of various reasons. The most recent was man-made, artificially created by a country that was doing experimentations on biological warfare. And despite having international organizations and everything, that country refused to share the data initially. So the COVID pandemic or Wuhan virus pandemic was creation of a rising hegemon that had geopolitical interests. I think the focus should be on prevention of pandemics rather than containing the pandemics once they have arisen. South-South cooperation can lead to prevention of pandemics so that other countries don't indulge in biological warfare. And there are international agreements about that.
But
I
sorry to interrupt you, despite having so many act events and international bodies, on such occasions, we don't see any action from these bodies and nothing effective can be done by the UNO or any other organization on any agreement. So does it mean anything when the time comes to take action?
The United Nations is a toothless body which has lost its relevance. It became the tool of the, superpowers post World War II. So UN has no actually credibility left. The latest pandemic, if you know, that there were two superpowers involved. One was United States, second was China. And United States was funding gain of functions research in Wuhan Institute of Virology in China. And China was less than truthful because the virus was man-made. It was created in the lab. So if you need to have a body that will sanction these superpowers, then only you will be able to prevent future pandemics arising from lab. You can bully, you can contain the behaviors of smaller countries, but when it comes to superpowers, that's not possible. So there is, again, like terrorism, there's some role, there's a greater role in containing pandemics, and vaccine Maitri Abhiyan was to contain a pandemic that has already been unleashed by biological warfare activities of this country. What I'm saying that this can also help in careful planning and careful systems to prevent future pandemics. How far that would be successful with the current institutions, it may not be. We may have to reform even World Health Organization the way they behaved.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of tasks there. And the only way you can reform World Health Organization is by South-South cooperation. Environmental degradation is again a challenge.
Yeah.
Western countries refuse to budge. Again, there's a hypocritical element here that they refuse to pay for the damages they have already done to the environment. Their per capita energy consumption is massive, astounding, and yet they want to put restrictions on India or want India to pay for technologies that they control. European Union has come with very fantastic standards. They've brought out this notion of green steel. So they would not purchase steel from any other country unless it is quote unquote green steel. So the goalposts are being changed,
What does
which
it mean? What is that green steel actually?
Well, they have certain, standards of manufacturing and this and that. And the thing is that it's not just the steel. If you make cars,
Mm.
let's say steel purchased from India, European Union will not allow that because it's not made from manufactured from green steel.
Okay.
These are, trade barriers being put. So unless the West or the Western countries, the so-called first world countries, change their attitude, environmental degradation will not be successfully dealt with. An entire human race will have to suffer the consequences. Rhetoric is one thing, preaching to the others is one thing, but actually changing your own behavior, the national behavior, that is very different. And I am in a very advantageous position living in United States and comparing what happens in India. How much energy consumption is per capita in United States and how much it is in India. So again, people who gave lectures on environmental degradation, they use privately chartered jets, including the latest, you know, saint of environmental movement, Greta Thunberg,
Yeah. Mhm.
or for that matter, Albert Gore Jr. I mean, look at the hypocrisy. So I think unless the international community decides that their own geopolitical objectives should be set aside and they need to cooperate with the entire world in tackling the environmental degradation or climate change, we will not succeed. In fact, year 2023 was the hottest year since the temperature records are being kept uh, internationally. And you are going to see the results. Yes, certain countries would be adversely affected. India would be affected more significantly adversely. Some of the South Pacific island nations might disappear from the face of the earth. But I can tell you, some of the coastal cities in United States will also be inundated with the rising sea levels. We have witnessed, rising sea levels. This is not the first time. I'll give you the example. At this point in time, you have to go underwater to see the ancient city of Dwarka.
Yeah, right.
Okay. There was a prolonged drought for 200 years that led to disappearance of the Saraswati River, which is mentioned in Vedas.
Yeah.
There were temple cities in coast of Tamil Nadu that were obliterated because of the rising sea levels. So we have witnessed it. Global climate change is a real thing. In fact, in 4 years of presidency of Donald John Trump in United States,
Yeah.
I mean, the whole administration said it's a hoax. There's no climate change. So again, how can India lead if the people have their closed mind? So yes, we can do our own contribution, but unless you change the minds of other countries, it is very, very difficult. And in each instance, whether it is terrorism, whether it's pandemic or climate change, there are players who are not willing to be convinced with just dialogue. So role would be there, South-South cooperation. Whatever limited role, we should exercise it like we did in Vaccine Maitri Abhiyan, like we are doing with International Solar Alliance,
Yeah.
encouraging South-South cooperation, setting up an example by using non-biofuel sources of energy or non-fossil fuel sources of energy and work with other countries. But for a comprehensive solution to these problems, there has to be change in mindset of certain countries.
So, how do you think the Western countries can be forced to realize the truth actually? Because I was making a video some time back, I think a year, more than a year back, on this climate change on the Congo's rainforest.
Hmm.
So I learned in the Amazon rainforest actually, they have cut down so many trees massively actually. The forest doesn't absorb the carbon now.
Hmm.
So the Congo rainforest is the only hope for the mankind.
Uh, Look, my take would be that let's not waste our time on convincing the West.
Okay.
I think let's focus on domestic. India is a very, very, uh, you know, deeply affected victim of climate change. I think we need to get our own act together and we need to plant more trees and we need to create new forests. We need to, do water conservation. We need to do interlinking of rivers, create a national grid of rivers. Water conservation is should be very, very important because the water tables are actually uh, sort of going down.
Yeah,
So the depth to which you have to drill to get water in a bore well
yeah,
is getting deeper and deeper. So we are getting a water-starved country. It's a serious challenge. So rather than trying to teach the West, I think we need to work on our environment. We need to regulate our chemical industry because that has consequences for health.
yeah,
There is a sudden epidemic of cancers in Bharat that
okay.
is because of unregulated chemical industry, because the effluents are being discharged back into the rivers, which people use for various activities. We need to be able to provide potable drinking water to every citizen. These are tall tasks in a country where there's so much of uh, distrust of the central government. State governments want to do their own thing. They don't want to listen to the central government. So these are the domestic challenges. Only when we are able to take our own challenges, we will be able to convince others.
Right, sir. Right. Very right. So with this, I'm moving to the next question.
Sure.
What lesson can be learned from India's experiences in managing geopolitical rivalries and territorial disputes to promote peace, stability, and regional integration in South Asia and beyond? So, what's your take, sir?
First is that there's nothing called South Asia. It is an artificially created construct by Western imperialists.
I
What
see.
you're referring to is Indian subcontinent, which is culturally, civilizationally a part of global geography. And construct of South Asia basically sows the divisions rather than creates harmonization between the nations.
Yeah,
As long as we keep on harping on South Asia, we will not be able to promote
yeah,
harmony between the nations in this region. And you saw how the example of SAARC failed.
yeah,
South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, it is dead now.
yeah.
Uh,
Nobody talks about it.
Nobody talks about it. So I want to disabuse our viewers of this notion of uh, South Asia. Uh, yes, nobody wants a war, and everyone would like to promote peace and de-escalate the conflicts. Having said that, there was this academic by name Francis Fukuyama, who after dissolution of the Soviet Union said it's the end of history because everybody is adopting democracy and there are not going to be any wars with the fall of Soviet Union, which
Yeah.
was a pretty silly, if not delusional statement. Yes, the focus is on promoting peace, de-escalating international conflicts, but you know how mankind is, how geopolitics works.
Yeah.
We can never eliminate the war. We can never eliminate the conflict. That's a utopian notion.
Yeah.
Yes, we can make attempts so that there is some harmonization. But again, the issue is that if your adversary is bent upon creating problems and want peace or stability or harmonization, they will keep on creating problems.
Like Pakistan and China, we have.
Yes, so I didn't want to mention those, but they are bent upon containing India, breaking India. So again, we need to use all the tools in our toolbox. We need to focus on hard power also. Too much of emphasis on soft power, promoting peace, being a Vishwaguru, that's not going to help us. Yes, we have to use soft diplomacy, our cultural diplomacy, in promoting our national and geopolitical objectives. You might have seen that Bharat sent a relic of Lord Buddha to Thailand.
Yeah.
And that created tremendous feelings in the Thai population. If you saw the videos, how Thai people, they were overwhelmed with emotions and grateful to India for sending that relic. And after due period of time, that relic was returned back to Bharat. And all these ambassadors of Buddhist countries and non-Buddhist countries, they went and they, marked their presence and appreciated India's role in promoting that kind of soft power. So yes, there's a role for soft power, but that has to be balanced against the real politic and the hard power.
Yeah, right, sir. So, with this, I have only one more question left on this topic. How
Hmm.
can India's soft power assets such as yoga, Ayurveda, Bollywood, Indian diaspora contribute to promoting cultural diplomacy, enhancing global understanding, and fostering people to people ties? So, again, we are on the soft power. So, something more to add on this.
I would say that pretty much everything is going in a positive direction. The things you mentioned, except for one exception, the Bollywood, there's a problem. That is not epitome of India's soft power because there are very divisive elements in the Bollywood who have their own agenda. Their own agenda of a section of Bollywood is actually to dismember India, dismember the idea of India. So let's be very clear that Bollywood is not a unitary term. Again, when we talk about Indian diaspora, yes, a part of diaspora helps in people to people cooperation. But if you consider part of Indian diaspora Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, there are problems there.
Yeah.
There are some members of the diaspora that have taken very much uh, anti-India attitude. Their stated agenda is breakdown of India. Their stated agenda is to create smaller nation states within the geography of India. So you will not be able to sort of seek their cooperation. But those members of the diaspora that are definitely, uh, not having the divisive agenda, we can use them. We are using already yoga, International Yoga Day is accepted by United Nations and more and more nations are participating in International Yoga Day, including Saudi Arabia. Could
Yeah,
you ever imagine that a conservative Sunni Muslim country like Orthodox Sunni Muslim Wahhabi Salafi country open itself to influence of yoga?
yeah,
Some of the Western countries are lamenting the effect of yoga, saying that this is bringing Hindus influences or corrupting the population by satanic rituals and things like that, or the other way around, that yoga is a creation of British calisthenics with some American exercises, is a 20th century creation, taking away the role of India in presenting the world with yoga. So you have all kinds of people, but we are doing good sense in culturally promoting yoga. Where we are deficient is that we have not exploited the commercial significance of yoga. Yoga is a big business in United States.
yeah,
Uh, it's more than $30 billion actually market in terms of yoga. And you have people who are trying to, you know, have patents on yoga or copyrights on certain yoga postures and all. So we need to understand that we should not give a free pass to the West,
yeah. That should not
exploiting
happen.
our cultural heritage, that is, as far as yoga is concerned.
Yeah, that should not happen actually. India should have done something, or at least now India should do, have some institution to properly teach yoga,
Yes.
you know, and then,
So that is about yoga. Same thing about Ayurveda.
yeah,
There is an interest in Ayurveda, resurgence in Ayurveda, resurgence of interest in Ayurveda. I, as a practicing physician, I don't see any contradiction between modern medicine and Ayurveda because modern medicine is derived from Ayurveda historically.
yeah,
We have utilized much more techniques, that's a different thing. But even in modern medicine, now the emphasis is on wellness, mindfulness, wholeness, organic lifestyles. So modern medicine has realized what is the effect of chemicals, the processed foods, what is the importance of eating plant-based diet, all those kind of things. So world is turning around. And yes, we can use again Ayurveda or Ayurvedic remedies, but not exclusively. Because, if there are advances, we have to be open to scientific advancement.
yeah,
The lifespan of human beings and quality of life definitely has been improved by, advances in the modern medicine. So we need to have best of each rather than having either or that, modern medicine versus Ayurveda. Use both. But I have a problem here again that the West has a tendency to digest Indian cultural heritage and knowledge.
yeah,
There were times when some Indians who went to United States became US citizens, filed for patents on turmeric, use of turmeric in various diseases. So again, we have to guard against that.
yeah,
What
right.
is our traditional knowledge should not be commercially exploited by unscrupulous individuals, groups, entities, corporations, or nations.
Yeah,
So while we are fostering our influence, whether it is yoga or Ayurveda, we need to be cognizant of, exploitation by these groups, for commercial interests. In fact, anyone who has to benefit commercially is us,
yeah,
our traditional populations.
yeah, as a whole actually. Yeah.
And we need to impose legal international safeguards that nobody exploits our cultural heritage for commercial purposes without paying a royalty to us in advance.
I have opinion. What I have realized I have seen in India, because the modern medicine, especially the allopathic medicine, the community, the doctor, hospital, and whoever is involved in this community, they very aggressively promote a narrative. Only this modern medicine is effective, the others are useless, and they do it very, even my family and everywhere I have seen. So they just discard this, the old pathage, actually the Ayurvedic, the Unani, the homeopath, or whatever we have. They just discard it.
I think we need to have integrated systems
Yeah.
in which knowledge is imparted about everything. Uh, it again, the issue is that it's a tribal kind of fight. It's the other way around also.
Yeah.
Uh, I can tell you, Baba Ramdev is doing good work, but he's also facing trouble in the court because of
Yeah.
making unsubstantiated tall claims.
Hmm.
So either side should not make sustainable claims.
Yeah.
And when we are teaching the knowledge to future doctors, I think we
Mhm.
need to have a kind of integrated curriculum in which there's a knowledge about everything.
Right.
That would be the way to go about,
Yeah.
rather than you know restricting yourself to silos and talking about just one or the other and debunking the other. So that requires openness of mind, learning attitude, uh, and an attitude for growth and improvement from the past. I can tell you that in the West now people are realizing, even the practitioners of modern medicine, that some of the holistic medicine practices, whether it is yoga, whether it is meditation, whether it is plant-based diet, whether it is lifestyle to de-stress, these are important aspects.
Yes.
So people are becoming cognizant of that. I did make a comment on Bollywood. Uh, Bharat has the largest film industry.
Yeah.
It is a cultural icon. It has definitely helped us. If you go to Africa, the Hindi movies are very popular there. Some of the people in Africa actually have learned Hindi from Hindi movies.
Even the South people have learned Hindi from Hindi movies, actually.
You have these song contests, and you see somebody coming from Saudi Arabia or Middle East,
Yeah.
singing. So you have examples of that, and that is good. But Bollywood has become part of a international cultural elite
Yeah.
that is focusing on spreading wokeism, any very ultra leftist ideology. They are in cahoots with Greta Thunberg,
Yeah.
Mia
Right.
Khalifa, uh, Rihanna, all these people that, they have agenda beyond what they are doing. So
Yeah.
I have some problems with Bollywood, but Bollywood alone does not determine India's film industry.
Right.
There's a,
Right.
southern film industry which is not part of the Bollywood.
Uh, yes.
You saw that uh,
So we
the
have less than 1 minute of time left, actually.
hmm.
So we should end this session, I think.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Viewer. Thank you so much. So as we draw the curtains on this insightful journey through India's geopolitics, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to every one of you for turning in and actively participating in this enriching discussion. Your engagement and enthusiasm have truly fueled the spirit of exploration and learning, inspiring us to delve deeper into the realms of geopolitics understanding and its implication for a brighter future. As we bid farewell, we kindly request your support in